What's happening, guys? So today we're going to be speaking about hazmat reviews, and I'm going to give you two big pieces of info today. Number one is where you can expect Amazon to initiate a hazmat review of your product, and there are two different places where that can happen. Number two is how to pass a hazmat review, whether you have a dangerous good or a non-dangerous good. Before we jump on screen here, if you're new to the channel, a big welcome. Please do subscribe below and give this video a like if you find it helpful. So, hazmat reviews, when they happen and how to pass them. First of all, preemptive steps. These are things I suggest you do whenever listing products to avoid hazmat reviews as much as possible, or at least make their resolution easier. First of all, list your products early. This is important because it's going to allow you to take early action on things like product restrictions, category restrictions, and hazmat reviews. Remember, one of the best ways to figure out if your category or product is restricted is to actually list it, because then Amazon's going to let you know whether or not that is a restricted product or in a restricted category, as well as hazmat reviews. Is this product dangerous or non-dangerous? 2. When you list that product, fill in all required details on that listing, including the size and weight of that product, the technical data, and 2, the materials and contents. This is key. For example, if you're doing a bundle or a set or a kit of some sort, it's very important you provide the list of contents and what's actually in that product, so that if the team does conduct a hazmat review of your product, it's very easy for them to see what makes up this product. So there are two places where Amazon may initiate a hazmat review of your product. Now, whenever you're placed under hazmat review, they're going to let you know, okay, this product's under hazmat review, and often they'll use a phrase like additional information required or upload required information. And there are two major places during the process of listing a product that they may ask you to provide this additional information, that they may place your product under hazmat review. Number one is when converting your product from FBM to FBA. Now remember, in most cases, when you actually list your product, it is listed by default as FBM, which is fulfilled by merchant. In other words, you fulfill the item from your house or warehouse, not FBA, where your inventory is stored in the warehouse. Now, this is standard practice, and you can identify quite quickly if it's FBM or FBA by seeing if under Manage Inventory, can you input the available quantity? Now, if you can input the available quantity, then it's FBM, because you can tell them how much inventory you have at your house or warehouse. But if it's FBA, you will not be able to fill in anything in the available column, because obviously that depends on what's at the warehouse. In any case, what you want to do is convert your listing from FBM to FBA if you're going to run this product FBA. And that's standard practice. But during the process of doing that, as you can see on screen here, this is the first point at which Amazon may ask you to provide additional information. This is the first point where they may put you under hazmat review. And that makes sense, because you're telling them you want to send this into the warehouse. And therein lies their risk, because is your product dangerous or not? So converting FBM to FBA, this is the first place where they may ask you for hazardous goods information. But if you pass the step without hazmat review, do not think that you're in the clear, because there is another place where they may ask you for hazmat information. And that is during the shipping plan. So when you try to create your shipping plan, you're often going to land up on a screen like this, where you can see you actually input the quantity, the units per case or number of cases. Anyway, it's on the first step of the shipping plan, and you can see here that it says, again, product under dangerous goods hazmat review, and provide additional classification information. So this is the second place where they may ask you. I always recommend, if you get past this first step, always create a test shipping plan, as that's going to allow you to check whether you get hazmat review here as well. Again, guys, list early. That way you can deal with this quite quickly and effectively before actually having inventory in the pipeline being held up by a review like this. Now, at the point where you now need to pass the hazmat review, you're actually going to click on this link where you can see provide additional classification information. So right on that message, you would click that link and you would land on this page. And this page is going to be the place from which you navigate to all different things hazmat related. We're going to break this down a little bit more so parts of this page make sense to you. First of all, on the right hand side of this page, you're going to see Dangerous Goods Identification Guide. And that's what you want to use to establish whether or not your goods are dangerous goods or non-dangerous goods. That's the first and most important step that you want to take. Secondly, now that we've figured out if it's dangerous goods or non-dangerous goods, we can take actions based on each. Now, if you have dangerous goods, let's say you used this guide and your goods are actually classified as dangerous, you need to get an MSDS. This is called a Material Safety Data Sheet, and this is something that you would get from your supplier. It's also sometimes called an SDS, or Safety Data Sheet for short. Now with the SDS, it must be updated within the last 5 years. It must match your product listing. For example, the listing title, the product name in your listing is the same as the product name on the SDS at the top. Include your supplier information. This is section 1 of the sheet, and that supplier info must match the product label. For example, under your listing, you're going to have manufacturer and a name. You must input your manufacturer's name there on the listing if your manufacturer's name is on the SDS, which it probably will be because the MSDS comes from them. They have had the safety tests done at their factory. So the safety data sheet's going to have their name on it, and you want to have their name in the manufacturer section on your listing. The SDS must also have these 16 standard SDS sections, which it should do. And then remember, you can always change this stuff later. So if you have, for example, the manufacturer's name under manufacturer on the listing now, you can change that later when you're through the review. But for now, this is important that this matches. For non-dangerous goods, so if you took this test earlier and you were non-dangerous, what should you do? Well, you're going to actually download an exemption sheet from this page again on the right hand side here. Now, if your product contains batteries, then you're going to download the exemption sheet, which is for batteries. And that's either going to read batteries and products that ship with batteries, or battery and battery powered products. So these are named differently between, say, the US Seller Central and UK Seller Central. But in other words, if your product has batteries, you're going to choose the exemption sheet for batteries. Otherwise, if your product does not have batteries, you're going to download the cosmetics and products not regulated as dangerous goods, or products without harmful chemicals. That's the exemption sheet that you will choose. And very often, if you don't have battery powered products, then this is the one that you're going to choose, the non-dangerous exemption sheet. So now you must download that sheet from Seller Central here. And this is what this sheet looks like. So here on screen, you can see the exemption sheet. This is the first page. This is the second page. This is the third page. And this is the fourth page. And then lastly is just a note at the end here. Now, you will fill out page 1. You are definitely going to also fill out page 2, which is just asking, does your product have these warning labels on it? You're going to say yes or no. Then you're only going to choose one of the next 2 pages. So you're either going to fill out 3 or 4. You're not going to fill out 3 and 4. That's very important. So either you're going to choose hazardous cosmetic products, tick this box and fill this out, or you're going to choose products not classified as dangerous goods, tick this box and fill this one out. Again, choose 3 or 4. Don't fill both out. So if we focus in on the first page of the exemption sheet here, you're actually going to input a bit of data on the front here. You're going to input your name prepared by, the company name as well. That's your company name. You're also going to input the date and then your merchant ID. Now, merchant ID is very confusing for a lot of sellers. This is also called the merchant token. Okay, so use those interchangeably, and you can find the merchant token or merchant ID by doing this. On Seller Central, you're going to go settings, account info, and in the middle, you'll find business information, and you're going to choose your merchant token. Now, as before, you will fill out page 1 and 2 of the exemption sheet, but then you're either going to choose page 3 or page 4, not both of them. And be sure to tick this box, guys. I can't tell you how important that is. I've done this before and not seen that tick box, and it's taken like 5-6 weeks to pass a hazmat review. Very, very important that you tick the relevant box here. Now, on the page below, you're actually going to fill in your ASIN over here. Then you're going to fill in your marketplace, say the US, Amazon.com. Then document language, English if it is English, and then choose your file. Now, when you choose the file, you're actually just choosing that filled out exemption sheet that you've downloaded to your computer from here, filled out and saved. So you're just uploading that filled out exemption sheet, and then you're going to click on upload file to actually submit this form and submit your hazmat information. Lastly is await Amazon's response. So if your product's still under hazmat review after 4 working days and you haven't heard anything, then you can open a case or call Amazon to check up on this. You can create another listing for the product and try a dual approach. Now, this is up to you. Remember, you don't want to have 2 listings of the exact same product long term, but do keep in mind that keywords are a very, very big part of what flags hazmat reviews. If you use hazardous keywords, then it's very likely you will get a hazmat review. So keep that in mind if you're in a very dire situation where it's been taking weeks and weeks. Email the product compliance team simultaneously to uploading documents to Seller Central. And just keep providing what's asked for. This video should really help you. I've had hazmat reviews take me 6 weeks, but it's before I understood this. It's before going through this multiple times to the point where I can give you the information, and hopefully this saves you a huge amount of time. So I really hope you do see the value in this and that this helps you. And please do remember, subscribe below and give this video a like if you think it is going to help you. If you think this is something that's going to add value in the future or help you get over these little hiccups, these little hurdles as you bring your product to life. You guys have an awesome day, and I'll see you in the next video.